Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time once again to circle the wagons because the Coon Prairie Ramblers are in the house.
Here we are.
Yeah, that's where we mind meander and talk about this and that, this and that.
And the other.
And along to help us talk about all them things we're going to talk about, we got Luke, the rebel without a clue.
I'm afraid so. Stuck with me again.
Yeah.
Who's our special guest today?
We have Tanya, right?
Tanya.
Good afternoon.
Bordener.
Bordener, not Bordener.
Oh, I knew it.
Two syllables. Bordener. Welcome. We're glad to have you with us today.
Thank you.
And you are a teacher at West Elementary?
Yes, sir.
Third grade.
Absolutely. The best grade.
How long you been there?
Oh, I don't know. 18 years, something like that. I lost count.
Are you serious?
Yes.
18 years.
Thanks for making me feel old.
You're ready to retire.
Wow. So,
one day soon.
You must have been, Tanya and I used to work at the newspaper together. So that must have been right before you started teaching.
Yeah, I worked for the newspaper 2 years, and then I went into education.
Wow.
Been a third grade teacher all that time?
No, I was the bilingual specialist for about 8, taught first grade for about another 8. I was the reading specialist in the reading
Being a bilingual specialist, does that mean you speak another language?
Spanish.
I hope so.
Buenas tardes.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that before you started that, or you had to learn that for the job?
Oh, no, I started studying in 8th grade, and I just studied it
Got
all the way up
fluent in
through. In college, I lived a semester in Spain.
Are you serious?
That's when I
what it
learned it. When you're standing on the corner with your suitcase and you have to tell the taxi cab driver where to take you, that's when you learn it.
That had to be scary.
It was fun.
I've taken Spanish all my life. I've studied it. I've listened to, I did it in high school. I listened to those Penzler methods.
Oh, yeah.
And I also have his vocabulary, but I can't talk it.
Well, that's, I started taking it in 8th, and I took it all through high school. And in college, I took a class here and there because my major was journalism. But my senior year, I needed one class for my major. So I decided to go to Spain. And if you want to really learn,
that's incredible.
Go to where you have no choice. And
you went to the source
right
there. And you better know stuff like where's the restaurant, where's the hospital, where's the bathroom. I mean, you got to have
Donde está el baño? And
all right.
That's Castilian Spanish there.
In fact, the town that I studied in was called Valladolid, La Cuna de Castellano, the cradle of Castilian Spanish. It's a very pure form.
That's beautiful.
There, so I don't speak Spanish perfectly, but my accent is spot on. So I could say anything, and everyone's like, "Oh, you speak Spanish so beautifully," even if the words are wrong.
Yeah. We have to say something to our Spanish listeners today. Wow, I envy y'all. Well, I admire y'all. I respect y'all. I struggle enough with English, so maybe a little pig Latin, but that's about as bilingual as I get.
I have a friend who lives in the northwest corner, above Portugal, and it's a different Spanish dialect up there.
It's a variation of Spanish, or whatever they call it.
Galactic.
Gaelic?
No.
Gaelic?
I don't know.
Anyway, she said that they have a lot of big differences.
Yeah, I found, because we traveled around Europe for a couple weeks. We had a furlough, and I found my Spanish and their Italian or their French or their whatever, we could understand each other.
There's some similarities.
Because of the Latin base that it's all.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I know a lady, I have a Facebook friend, and she's from the Azores, which speaks Portuguese.
Okay.
And I said, "Can you understand Spanish?" And she says, "No," but she says, "I can understand French better. I can understand Spanish." But she's Portuguese, she's Portuguese.
Wow,
and I
that's
said,
wild.
"Well, what's the difference between Portuguese and Spanish?" She says, "Well, us Portuguese are smarter."
Oh, I'm sure.
A good answer.
Yeah, I had a French student once, and she knew no English at all, and she would speak French, and I would be able to pick up enough to get the basic
That's crazy.
understanding of what she was saying, and I would speak Spanish, and it would help more when I wrote it down that she could understand it. But
did you know anybody in Spain, or did you make a friend before you got there, or you just launched out into the deep?
Well, a group from my college went, but I lived with a family, so I wasn't living with a college roommate or anything.
How'd you make arrangements like that?
Our Elon University has a strong study abroad
You're like
program.
an exchange student thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that had to be wild.
It was fun. The family I lived with, they didn't have any children.
So they loved having you there. Then.
Right,
Good.
and they owned a restaurant. Ate all my meals at the restaurant.
What?
Yeah, I came back weighing like 20 pounds heavier.
I bet it was worth it though.
It was good. Yeah, it was a
Gosh.
good experience. I recommend studying abroad to anybody, no matter your age.
I mean, that's the way to do it. Instead of like staying over here and reading a book about it or listening to tapes or CDs or something. That's
I was
incredible.
hoping maybe a couple of Spanish flames would move in around me, but that probably wouldn't work.
I got some live behind me, but they're
Yeah.
quiet.
It doesn't help
They keep
you
they keep to themselves. No.
Uh-huh.
That's
Yeah,
about
it's
it.
really just having no alternative
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
than to speak Spanish. Because, when we would go to the university, we were in a language exchange program, so we had kids from, everywhere, Europe, all over Europe, Germany, and just everywhere. So our common language was Spanish. Although,
Wow.
quite truthfully, most of them spoke English very well.
The native Spaniards over there?
No,
or
not
or
the native
students?
Spaniards, the students.
The students
Yeah,
over there.
because Europe does a really good job of teaching language and making sure their students are equipped
Wow.
bilingually.
You stayed the entire year without coming back?
Nope, just a semester.
Oh, a
So about
semester.
4 months.
Okay. I was going to say a whole year. That's a long time.
Yeah.
I knew a lady. I used to work with a lady. She worked. She was. I had no idea she was Spanish, or grew up. Anyway, I was talking to her one day, and her English is perfect, and she happened to mention that my native language is Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "You mean, do you dream in Spanish?" She says, "Yeah, I dream in Spanish."
I never
You
thought
think
about that.
You think in Spanish? Yeah, I think in Spanish. But she speaks perfect English.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew I had really arrived in Spain when I started dreaming in Spanish. I've lost a lot of my Spanish.
I never
truthfully,
even
but-
thought about people dreaming in other languages.
And it kind of depended on, in my dream, who I was interacting with as to what language I spoke.
Wow.
Sweet.
Mm.
So I guess if you're over there and you're learning a language, you have to learn to write it too, and read it as well.
Right.
Was it harder to learn to speak it, or harder to learn to spell it? Write it out and stuff.
Speak it was more difficult for me because from 8th grade on, it was a book language, a language I had to read at school
Right.
and translate at school and write.
Okay.
But speaking it didn't happen often in school because I just didn't have to.
Mm.
But then when I got over there,
Yeah.
and the family I lived with, I would go, and they would be like, "You need to walk to the corner," like in Spanish. They'd be speaking
They were
to
doing
me.
that, so it's like
but by the
charades
end,
almost.
by the end, there was no charade communication going on. They would just rattle it off, and I would understand.
You ever notice how when somebody's trying to talk to someone in another language, make them understand what they're saying, they always talk twice as loud,
Right.
as if the person is deaf.
In a pseudo language.
Right.
Yeah, they almost assume a voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like that will help pound it into their head and make
Like
them
in
understand
They
it.
put or Spanish, they put a O at the end of
Right.
every word.
Right. Because a lot of the cognates,
Yeah.
a lot of the
Yeah.
words are just an O or an A at the
Wow.
end.
That's
But-
wild. I've never even thought about learning another language. You hear it around you, and you hear a few words, you know what they mean or whatever.
I've been trying all my life. But
And we're living in DeSoto County here, which has a
Yeah.
very high population of Spanish. So
Yeah, it's just a matter of being forced. They say there's no age limitation on learning a new language. It's just having no other choice. When you're sitting in the barber chair and you want her to cut your hair a certain way, you have to tell her.
You better get that part right. You walk out there with a mohawk or something.
if I'm in Publix or Walmart or someplace and I hear a conversation, a Spanish conversation, every now and then I'll walk by and I'm thinking, "Hey, I knew what they said." And then, but most of the times, I didn't know what they said. But every now and then, you'll catch it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But I can't repeat it. I can't, respond to it.
So you're eavesdropping on these Spanish people.
Well, if they're talking loud enough and you're pushing your buggy back past them.
Well, if it'll help you learn a little bit more, then we're good to go there.
Yeah, we didn't talk about our subject.
We'll come back with the next segment. But for right now, we're going to have to vamonos. Is that a word?
Yes,
Vamonos. On out of here.
that's
So-
it.
Adios.
Yeah.
Hasta la vista, or whatever it is. We'll be back. Y'all stay put.
Man, you're good.
Yeah, right.